All right, welcome to Here for the Horses. Glad you're here for the horses. This week, we are going to go over some of the homework. I actually want you guys to talk about what you liked about doing the legs. There were some pretty cool things that I saw, so I'll have some of you guys talk about what you noticed. I'll bring up a couple things that I do want to go over just a little bit as I'm reminded of them. Um, but let me know, what did you guys like about the legs? Because some of you had some awesome results that was really cool. So raise your hand or unmute and let me know. Because I'm going to
I'll
go through
go.
some. Yeah.
Yeah, Paige here.
Mhm.
What I really liked is, I have worked on her front leg before. I met you, Erin, or took your class, and so I thought I had it all down, and it was going to be great, and she should be relaxed. But what I found is your I don't know, your saying of make sure you touch every part of your horse. And I obviously had missed going all the way up the leg and following all the grooves. And she was extremely sore there. But the other thing that I missed was she just kept lifting up her foreleg, saying, "Get in there deeper, and but do it gently, or I'll bite you."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like you to get in there deeper. And and anyway, it was really fascinating to kind of learn that yet again, that they really do try to put you on the spot. You just have to pay attention and not be so worried about your video or your time, or doing that circular motion or whatever. But if they just put you right there. So that's all I had to say. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was cool. Um, I was kind of talking about this with someone. Oh, it was I don't know, you guys that have went to that Gabby Noir one-on-one that I did with her. That was really cool. But she also had another live this last Saturday, and she was talking about something really cool in regards to training. And she had three circles. Okay, there was a blue circle in the middle, and I think this is a Pirelli thing. Blue circle in the middle is the safe area. Okay. And then the circle outside of that one is like kind of the uncomfortable but learning place. So everything in the blue circle is really easy. It's safe. There's not a lot of learning that goes on there. And then in the next circle that's bigger, it's like this is your learning area. It's a little bit uncomfortable. It's kind of like yellow. So it's like there's a little bit of anxiety in there because you're learning. And it's just kind of that place of you're not really sure, you're learning something new, something's different. And then there's the outside circle, which is the red circle, that it's like too much, you've blown it, this is they're scared, they kind of lost it. And you have that same thing with massage. Okay. So, what did she call it though? Okay, she called it, she likes to take them to threshold. Okay. So, do you know what I call that? Take them to the edge. Okay. Because once you've taken them over threshold, there's no learning that goes on there. Okay. There's no learning. So and this I thought was so cool how this goes with massage also is that blue circle, okay, is also true in massage. So you have a safe zone massage circle where, oh, and I'm not making fun of people that do these reels because their work is great. I'm not making fun of it. And I don't put up a lot of, you know, crazy stuff either because I don't want to listen to the BS that's going to come with it. But these massage therapists that are like, Kumbaya, my Lord, and everything's just like really nice, and there's like classical music playing, and everything just looks real zen. Okay, so that's your safe circle. That's a beautiful circle to be in, and horses can get a lot of relaxation from that. Okay, it's nice. But there is also this other circle that you have to get into in order for the massage to be effective. Okay. And it's that circle of, oh, I don't know if I like this. That's making me feel weird. Oh my God. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Oh, shoot. Trying to like kind of get out of stuff. Okay. So that's the circle that you want to stay in to have the most effective massage. Now, you can have your blue massage if you want. Okay. But when I go to a massage therapist, if they keep me in the blue, we're going to have problems and your tip is going to be really small because I need it to be effective. And to be effective, you have to go into that other circle. Okay. And then what she said was at threshold, she was saying when you're training horses, you don't want to take them past threshold because they're going to shut down and stop learning. And this is, I don't know if she mentioned this, but I'm sure and I don't think this is necessarily her concept, but she was the one talking about it. But once you take them past threshold, they can't learn past threshold, okay? And that's where I personally think that a lot of horses who are started really quickly and really fast and really aggressively, they don't do well because they're in that past threshold area as they're trying to learn and they can't learn there. So what happens is that they function like they survive, right, in that state. And then the person who's trained them hands them back to the owner, broke, started under saddle. And then they find out that, oh, yeah, the horses weren't actually learning in that state of mind. And they start having a lot of problem with these horses that are just started. Okay. So I've seen it a ton. I've seen it a ton where they hand the horse back to the owner and it doesn't go well because these horses are started so fast and rapid that there is no foundation. It's all smoke and mirrors. Okay. Anyways, um, but yeah, she calls that at threshold when you push them past that point. I call it taking them to the edge. Okay, so if you take them to the edge, you don't want to go over the edge, right? Because then this is my thing. I'm going to lose their trust. That's my big thing. I might still be able to get the muscles to relax, but generally, if you take them over the edge, they start getting defensive and they shut down and they are not going to be able to relax. And we want relaxation. That's our goal is relaxation and release of tension. They're not going to be able to release tension if they're blocking you out or too stressed out. Okay. So I call that taking them to the edge. And then when you go past the edge, one, they're going to escalate or they're going to go internal, and defensive. Okay. And your massage is no longer going to be effective. Okay. And my main issue with that is that you lose their trust. And then you start working on other parts of their body and they're like, I don't trust you. Okay. So I assume that's the same with training also. But you know, once you push them over that edge, nothing good happens. There's no good accomplishments. Okay. So that's the same with massage. So that's where you're kind of playing that fine line of, and that's why I do talk a bit about, if they are handling it, okay, you've taken them to the edge and they're handling it, you can stay there for a while. And then either they're going to relax back into the yellow zone, or they're going to escalate and they're going to go into the red and then you have to back off. Okay. You have to back off. If you don't, you lose their trust, and then the massage goes downhill from there. Okay. Does that make sense? So, and it's hard, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard as it is with training. We don't know half the time, right? I was just out working with Rada for a lesson, and we have kind of a better idea on how to help Chester with his legs. Because I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we slid back with his leg work. I'm not quite sure why. But we have a better game plan. It was really fun because Rada started working with him. And he was responding really well. So we have kind of a better idea of what we're going to do now. Um, and then it was funny because I think after listening to Gabby that he cannot handle more than about 5 minutes of leg work. Like he can't handle it. He can't handle the idea of only working on him picking his legs up is too much. It stresses him out. His whole demeanor and his face changes when he knows that you're just going to work on legs. So we're changing that to about 5 minutes. And it was very interesting to me when I was working with her. She had done about 10 minutes and he was doing really well because this was a new kind of a similar, but like a new thing that we were going to learn or try out. And then I go, okay, I think that's a good place to end with his legs because I feel like this is the step in the right direction. And we've probably been doing it for 10 minutes. And she went, oh my gosh, he sucked me in. Like, I'm glad you said something because I wanted to keep doing it. And I was like, I have a weird feeling he's done that to me too. And she was like, I can't believe that just happened. I was going to keep working him, and it is definitely time to stop. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have been sucked into that myself. So that might have been what happened. I might have pushed him over that threshold and I didn't know it. And I kept going. I don't know. So, the wonderful world of horses, just try to do the best you can. But yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I don't think anything, Stephanie says, I don't think anything learns when they're in fight or flight mode. Horses, body or train, people, kids. 100% I agree. Yeah. Think about people, who are in situations where it's like survival mode, they survive most of the time. But it's a wild situation. And until you get out of it and into a place of safety, you don't realize how wild it was, you know? So I think that's very true. Okay, anything else that you guys have noticed about this week's legs? Because I think we'll go ahead and unmute because I'm going to jump onto my Facebook here and look around. Actually, you guys can come with me. Uh, uh, we'll just talk about it as we go. This one, you guys can see this? No? There. Okay. So this one was really cool. This one, look at the face of this horse. This is Susan and Sam. Look at how this is what I call he's very interested in what she's doing. So there, now it's a little bit different. Watch his face here. It's like you can tell he's paying a lot of attention. Do you see him? Okay. Now, some people might confuse this for he's gone internal. I don't think he's gone internal here. I think he was like paying a lot of attention to what she was doing, and now he's kind of relaxed. So, I think that is a face. I've seen that face a lot where they kind of just put like some people say they put an ear on you or they put an eye on you. Okay. Well, he kind of put like just an intention on her. Like he's paying attention to what she's doing. And in that moment, you can kind of say that that is a moment of him being on the edge because he's like, is this going to get better? Is this going to get worse? Or what's going on? Okay. And then obviously he had a great response to it. So he went from being on the edge like this to he's like thinking about the situation and how it's going to go, and he's evaluating everything that she's doing. And then he finally said to himself, "Yeah, I'm okay with this. All right." And you can kind of see you know, he kind of backs away a little bit. Okay. And then this other side, he was a little bit different on the other side. He was more relaxed on this side over here. Okay. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is that first side again. Look, do you see how he's paying attention? And he's like, I haven't made up my mind yet. And then watch when he decides. He's like thinking about it. There, he decided it's okay. Life's good. Okay. Now, if he would have gone from this face to moving around, stepping around, throwing his head up, picking his foot up, then that probably would have told you that his decision was it's just a little bit too much for me. Okay. So this was really cool to watch him do this because he was certainly paying attention to every single thing that she was doing. And he made the choice that, yeah, this was actually a pretty good deal. Okay. Rooster was the same way. Okay. So Rooster didn't know for sure if he liked what was going on. Kristen, have you ever done this with Rooster before? Hold on, I can't see your face. Where are you at?
No, I have not.
No. Okay. Yeah, that's what he acted like. He acted like you had never done that before. So he was like, huh, I don't know. Do I like this? I don't know. And it was definitely at some points in time, it made him feel weird. Okay. It made him feel weird. Get off there, go away. Oh, okay. So this one was a fun one to watch because he definitely kind of went through the motions of Kristen Rooster here. Oh, hold on. I was like, ooh, who is that? Whose voice is that? Yuck. Okay. So there's a happy face. So let's just scroll through this a little bit and look at his faces. He's kind of internal there. Doesn't like that, right? Can you guys see the difference? Now he's kind of moving around, so he's a little uncomfortable. Now he liked that. That's a like it face. Candy was awesome at this too. She'd be like, love it, hate it, love it, hate it. Look, he likes that. Okay. So it's kind of fun to mess around with just kind of scrolling. That was a release there. So just some interesting stuff. He definitely went through some emotions through this because you could tell he was like a little bit uncomfortable, but he's a good boy, but yet he wanted to move and get away, and then he like enjoyed part of it. So he had a lot of emotions. Paige, what you got?
Yeah. So, um, just being new to the massage and you having the 16 years of experience, no pressure. But when you're massaging a new horse, are there any, or through your years, have you come up with a list of things where that you say, I might be getting close to the edge, or taking them to the edge? Like you've already said moving, but, because like sometimes I'm working Havana and I'm like, I know this is uncomfortable slash she's got pain there and she's moving around and and she's trying to get away. How much do I ask her to stay?
Yeah.
When do you stop and say I'll do this another day? Does that make sense? Do you have any?
Yeah, totally. So generally, I kind of move in between a couple different ideas. Okay. So as I'm working a horse and they're showing me that there is some form of discomfort, whether it's mental or physical, the first thing I do is change my stroke. That's the first thing I do because I don't want to stop massaging them when they get uncomfortable. I want to find something that helps them be comfortable. Um, and so that's really important. But if so, I'll change my stroke. The second thing I'll do, and sometimes these are sometimes I flip these around. Okay, so it depends on how I've gone in on it. So if I've gone in a little hard, so I think on Kristen's video she was rubbing his leg kind of fast, and so I probably wouldn't have started slapping. I probably just would have slowed down. Would have been my first thing to do. So, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm moving really fast, one thing you can do is just move slower. Okay. So, that would be one thing I would do. The second thing would be I would change my stroke. Okay. Third thing could be I would change my depth or intensity. Okay. And then so I'm going to try to not stop the massage process, but I'm going to try to adjust the massage process to something that is tolerable for them as I continue to massage. Okay. If they find relaxation or stillness, then I'm going to keep doing whatever I just changed. So if I'm moving fast and they don't like that and I slow down and they go, okay, that's better. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. And I'm going to keep it slower. Okay. If they don't like the rubbing and I change to slapping and they're happy with that, then I will keep slapping. If I'm doing something hard and they don't like it, I'm going to back off. Okay. Now that I've gone through all of those three things, kind of all at the same time, sort of, is kind of how that happens. Um, if they escalate, I'm going to back off. That's the second part of it. So if I can't find something that they can tolerate so that I can keep massaging, I'm going to back off. And what does back off mean? Well, it could mean I'm going to get a lot lighter. I'm going to give them a break. I'm going to find somewhere else on their body to work. That's what back off could mean. Okay. So anytime they escalate, I have to decide, is this escalation something that I can ride out for a little bit? Because sometimes you'll see me say, and this is where just trying stuff out is all you can really do. Sometimes you'll hear me say, all right, give them a break. And sometimes you'll hear me say, stick with it. Stick with it. Okay, so that's where the trial and error comes from. And I don't know, how do I tell that? I don't know why I can normally tell if they're about to. Let me think about it. I bet you I could find an answer for you. If they have just started, okay, this is the best answer I can give you. If you're working on them and I've seen this with you guys, and you've done some pretty darn good work, and you guys know when you've done good work, and then they get kind of like antsy, okay? That means to me they're really close to releasing. Okay. So it might be like a fidget before a release. And so they need you to stay with them until you're able to kind of get it out of them. Okay. So that would be one of the situations. And the look on their face a lot of times is kind of like, oh my gosh. That's the best I can describe it. They go, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? Okay. When they've had enough, they go a little rigid and their head goes up and their eyes kind of go like, do I have to clock out on this? And they start like looking for an exit. Okay. They'll look for an exit. A lot of times if you have them in cross ties, I always think this is funny. I mean, it's not really funny, but it's kind of funny. If you have them in cross ties and it's loose, right? And they're like, la la la, this is great. And then you kind of hit a spot and they can't handle it anymore. They go, ooh, and the cross ties get really tight and they go like that. I call it clotheslining. I just clotheslined them. Okay, because they want out, but they can't get out. They kind of, whoa, all right. So if they try to leave the building, that's something you're gonna need to back off. But it is trial and error, so I think over the years I've kind of developed, but sometimes I'm wrong, you know. But there's definitely a look where I'll be like, no, stick with it. They almost got it. They get kind of this like, oh gosh, it's coming. I can feel it. And sometimes I'll even say in some of your videos, I'm like, I feel like they have a release coming out. And it's normally like 2 seconds later they release. But I think that happened last week on somebody. It was really funny. I was like, they're about to really, and then they went, whoa. Okay. So they have different looks for that stuff. It's pretty cool. Did that answer that page?
Yes.
Good. All right. Jen, what you got?
Actually, you pretty much answered my question there too. I had
Okay.
a little different variation on it, but you covered it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. Two birds, one stone. Bam. Okay. Let me see here. Let's go back to looking at some of these. I had a little thing written down, but I don't know where it went. I've had a busy week. And it's been raining forever, and it finally got nice today and yesterday. So I was like, see you guys, I'm going outside. It's been disgusting. Oh yeah, you guys look at, do you guys see Amy's horse? How much better he's getting? Is he looking different or what? I'll tell you what, his face looks different to me. We're working on that neck. It's gonna be awesome. Pretty excited. Adobe was excellent. He had some stuff. Oh, and little Larry had some yawns this week. This was fun because little Larry didn't know what was going on either. So he had that kind of look a couple times, like, oh gosh. And then look, he followed him. Isn't that the cutest? Look at his face. He's like, what's happening to me? So that was a super fun massage right there.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
very excited
Keegan.
at that. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome, Teresa. Um, Keegan, we got him this week. Keegan didn't know that massage was so good, and we got him. So this horse is extremely stoic. So if you want to see a very stoic horse lose at poker, he lost his poker face this week. He couldn't look at him. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I like," and this is all you're gonna get out of him. This is it. He's like, "I really, really like this." This was a very fun massage to watch. Okay, because he couldn't hide it anymore. It was really cool. Okay. Legend, yeah, that was good. I can't remember. Cheryl said something like he loses. Oh, okay. She's like, he loses patience with massage. Okay. Who in the notes in the chat can tell me two, they're not rules because they're not always true, but two things about thoroughbreds that I've said in the past. Two kind of, they're not rules, but I approach thoroughbreds in a little different way because of two things. Let's see if you guys can think of this. Oh, I see some people. Yeah, Keegan, he was so cute. Uh-huh. Yep. Yes. Yep. Yep. Yes. Thank you. Yes. 100%. You guys got it. Okay, two, not rules, guidelines. Whenever I go to work on a thoroughbred, one, they like to be slapped. And two, I just generally say, you have about 45 minutes for a full body massage. You got about 45 minutes. Now, this is not a rule across the board, but this is how I approach every thoroughbred because um, if you don't approach them this way, and they are the norm, which I'm going to say this is the norm, you're not going to have a good massage. And I recently read, I follow a couple massage therapists, and some of them have more experience than me, and I think some of them have less. And one gal this week, I read a post, and she had put up something, but I don't remember exactly what it said. She was talking about the second hardest horse breed to massage and why. And I can't even remember what one she said it was, but she said, these guys are only second to the thoroughbred. She goes, I think the thoroughbred is the hardest horse to massage. And I thought to myself, you're not doing it right, which is a little bit cocky, I would say, but you're probably not doing them right because thoroughbreds, and again, this is a generalization, this is true with a lot of horses, but they they just don't tolerate a ton if they're not happy. They'll act out. So you have to stick to some guidelines with them. And if you don't ride them right, they're going to rear. If their environment isn't good, they're going to lose weight. Like they're just kind of sensitive all around like that. So I kind of wanted to tell her, you know, if you think thoroughbreds are the hardest horse to massage, the breed, then you are not utilizing my two guidelines of one, they like to be slapped, and two, you got about 45 minutes. Because I work on thoroughbreds and I don't have any problems. I don't have any problems. But I'm fast. I'm fast for the first 45 minutes. And I switch my massage techniques quickly. Okay, so some of you guys said get in, get out. And oh yeah, acupressure, practical on a thoroughbred is extremely, yeah, because they don't, that's not going to be something they want, right? You should have been you should have done the acupressure and then slapped him over here. That would have been funny. And they'll be like, why are you slapping him? And it's like, just don't worry about it. Acupressure. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know why, but I think thoroughbreds are awesome to massage because one, it's normally a shorter massage, so I'll get it done in 45 minutes. Now, if the horse is loving it, then I go back and I do more work and I finish the hour off or whatever I want to cover, but they'll get a full massage in 45 minutes and there's going to be slapping involved. Okay? So that's kind of how I felt a little bit bad. Like you're probably pissing them off is what you're probably doing. And then once you make them mad, they're not super fun to work with. That's probably why she says that. If once they're annoyed, once thoroughbreds are annoyed, ugh, it's awful. My Teddy loves the light touch for a few minutes, then he starts bobbing his head like crazy. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of reminds me of the petting a cat thing. I talk about that. It's like you can pet a cat and just gently stroke it for 2, 3 minutes. And the cat will be purring and just happy and happy and happy. And then all of a sudden it goes, like clamps on you and like kicks you with its back legs. And I feel like some horses are like that too. It's like they can handle so much of something and then it just drives them nuts. I feel like I saw a little bit of that this week, but I don't remember exactly where it was. All right, let's go back to real quick. I'll finish up here. I'll just look through here and see if there's anything wild I need to talk about. But yeah, so yeah, sh with Cheryl and Legend, yeah, you got to move around and don't let him get bored. You know what I mean? Willow was excellent. Oh, Willow loved that. Willow loved this week. That was a fun video to watch. Yeah, Larry again, he did awesome. This horse had something cool going on too. It was a little sore on the left front, I think. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, and then Declan. I think I wrote something on Declan's. Okay. Larry legs. Stefan's another very sensitive horse. Okay, he's another really sensitive one. So you have to look at really small cues with him. I think, yeah, most of the horses this week really loved the legs. Just minor adjustments for a lot of things. Okay. This week's homework. Are we ready? Oh, did I not put it up? Here, I'll put it up with you guys. It is going to be front leg range of motion. Front leg range of motion. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Front leg range of motion. Unpin that. I'll pin the new one. pin. Okay. So this is one of my favorite things to do with horses. I love neck lateral flexion range of motion, and I love front leg range of motion. Okay. So, what do I use the front leg range of motion for? Well, it is called an assessment. So I am going to assess how much range of motion the horse has. I think this is so wildly important with every horse that I cannot do a massage without doing this. Okay. So let's talk about, we're going to break it down. If you guys have your pen and paper, we're going to break it down into the front leg range of motion forward. There's two parts. And the front leg range of motion backward, there's two parts. And they do different things. Okay, so let me pull up a muscle diagram here real quick. Maybe. Okay, this is a pretty good. Oh, no, this one's even better. I love this photo. I'm going to show it to you guys. Hold on. It doesn't go all the way down the leg, but I love this photo. I think I have it saved in a couple places. Okay, can everyone see that?
No.
So let's talk about the step one. The first thing we're going to do with leg range of motion assessment is we're going to pick this leg up and bring it to 90 degrees. So the horse's knee is going to be right here. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about safety tips and tricks. Safety. I want you in a sumo stance. Okay. I just rode my horse. Sorry. I look like a homeless person, but okay. I want you standing in front of the horse. You're going to be facing toward the back. Okay. So their chest is going to be right here. Their front leg is going to be right here, and they're facing that way. Their head's that way. I want you to reach down with your outside arm, ask for the leg, bring it up. You're in sumo stance. Okay. Sumo. Here. Here. Not this. Okay. I want here. Outside leg brings the leg up, and then you stand up. Okay. So the horse's knee is going to be here, and you can hold it with one or two hands. So sometimes what I see is that people are doing this and they pick the knee up like this and they're holding it out too far in front of them, and that is wildly uncomfortable. It's wildly uncomfortable. Okay. So you can pick the knee up and then stand up. Okay. So you're going to be holding the leg like this. Now, what I want you to do at that point in time, when you have that knee kind of at your pelvis, is I want you to ask yourself some questions. These are the questions. What does the leg feel like? What's the leg telling me? Okay. If it's telling you something, it's going to say something like, I'm really heavy. I'm pulling toward the midline. I can't go up to 90 degrees. I'm drawing outward. That's less likely. Midline's pretty normal. It's rare that the leg draws out going forward. Uh, I have a lot of tension, so that would be one thing. You would just feel like a jerk. I'm really jerky. Okay. Are those most of the things I hear? Heavy, pulls inward, can't go up to 90. Is curled. Okay. If the foreleg's really curled, I'll talk a little bit about that. If it's really heavy, pulls inward, pulls outward. If they're really jerky, that's all tension. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about um, what that means. I would kind of actually like I'm going to do this photo instead. Hold on. Can I make that bigger? Okay, this is a little bit better. Okay, actually, this is not a great photo, but you're gonna know what I mean. Hold on. Share. Share. Okay. So if you pick the horse's leg up, so this knee is gonna come to right about here, and you're gonna hold it there. If the horse cannot bring it up to 90 degrees, does anyone know what that is gonna mean is tight? Does anyone have an idea what you would think is tight? Tricep, yeah, it's the tricep. Tricep. Where's the tricep? Right here. This is tight. If you bring the knee up to right here and it's really heavy or it can't go up that high, it's the tricep. Sometimes it's also the elbow. And sometimes you just need to go rub the elbow and then follow it up the tricep. I'm not a huge fan of this photo, but it'll do. Okay. So this would be the long tricep. It doesn't go up that high, but whatever. Okay. This is the shorter. So I would check here and here. So if this knee cannot go up to 90 degrees, it's this muscle here and the elbow. Okay. If the knee goes here, but the leg is curled, so curled like this, the hoof doesn't lay flat. I'd like the foot to just kind of go this. But if the foot's curled like that, what is that? What's tight there? What's this back here? Flexors. Flexors. We're going to talk about pectorals in a little bit, Cece. Yeah. So flexors. So if the flexors are tight, the horse brings the leg up and the fetlock is curled. That's a tight flexor. Okay. So, speaking of pectoral, how do you tell if the pectoral is tight on a horse when you pick the leg up?
Pulls inward.
Yep. It draws inward. Midline, yes. Yes. Okay. So, yes. Let's do that. Hold on. I'll do another visual here. Okay, here. Legs here. Okay. This is what I want from a horse. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. If the pectoral, do this on yourself, is tight here, what happens? Well, one, you can't go forward too much, but it draws inward. Okay. This. How do you stretch a pectoral if you're human? This, right? That's how you open your pec up. We do this on yourself. Put your arm here, grab your hand, go here, grab it. That's your pectoral. That's the same thing we're going to do on the horse. That's how you release the pec. You grab it, and a lot of times when you dig in there, you'll find a grape. That grape is a knot. Okay? So as you bring the leg forward to 90 degrees, I can't do it, my arm doesn't bend that way. Okay? If the leg comes across midline, you're going to reach your inside hand up, grab the pectoral and squeeze it. Okay? The pectoral feels like a pork loin. Some horses have big pork loins. Some horses have tiny, tiny Arabian Chester pork loins. Okay. Some horses have big ol' Andalusian pork loins. They got big ol' chests. Okay. So if you bring the leg forward and it goes midline, that's the pectoral. Okay. So you have picked the leg up, you have brought it to 90 degrees. If it doesn't want to go to 90 degrees, it's the tricep. If it draws inward, it's the pectoral. If it doesn't hang nicely and has this going on, it's probably the flexors. Okay. And then also if it's really heavy, it's probably a combination of multiple things, but the first place that I go to is the elbow. But it's almost always multiple things. Okay. So that's step one of leg range of motion is 90 degrees. And what's really important for you is one, don't have their leg too far out where you're kind of like this, okay? You want to go, you want to bend over, ask for the leg, bring it to your hip. Here. Okay? So you're gonna have it right around here. This area. Okay? I really don't want to see any of this. This freaks me out. It has to be like this. Okay? Boom. Like that. Okay? That's just gonna be for you guys. You can do it wrong and hurt yourself, but I don't want you to. That's step one. Step two, and you can break these into two steps to start off with. What happens after you've done this a while is that you go step one, step two. If step one feels good, go to step two. Okay? Or while you're learning it, you can divide it completely into two steps and don't put them together at all. And then eventually you'll put them together because they go together. Step two, after you have the knee, okay, and everything's good with the knee, you're going to take, so I take my inside hand, and however you want to do it's fine. But I take my inside hand and then I take my outside hand, slide it down to the fetlock, and then allow the leg to go down. Not forward, down. And the problem that people run into is that they want to do a stretch. They want to take the leg and bring it forward, okay? But this is what happens. Your horse is at 90 degrees here, okay? And then you take the leg and you pull it, and then you want it to go down. But guess what? They can't go forward and down. If their leg's at 90, they can only go down. If they go forward, they have to step. Okay? So if you're finding that they're stepping, it's because you're pulling them too far forward. Okay? So this is where we're going to talk about the muscles that are involved in the second step. So we've talked about pectoral. Pectoral plays the same role with this one, with step two. We talked about the tricep. Tricep for step two does not engage. Why? Because the leg is extending. Okay. Yeah, Steph.
So when I do my range of motion on Magnum, um, after I have him in the 90 degrees, I kind of put that hoof between my legs and just rub behind it. Without fail, he always pulls back, like stretching, like it feels good on it's his right leg. So he always pulls back. So I allow him to do that. Is that just a tight tricep then? Is that what he's trying?
I'm thinking that to me, that's not tricep. To me, that talks about serrate and pectoral.
Okay.
So like the scapula is a little bit too stuck on him. And oh, your sound's horrible. Is everybody else's sound okay? So your like his scapula is too stuck onto his body like this. And so when you get that up, he wants you to do this. Okay? So that's gonna be the serrate and the pectoral.
And that's, remember where he got those 11 marks last
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
He hasn't got them yet, but
That's right.
that's kind of in that area, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I want to make sure, if your horse is stepping forward, you've taken them too far forward. Okay. Okay, and then let's take a look at the thing again here. Okay. So if we have this leg here, forward down to, let's say here. Oh, look at the little tiny feet on this horse. Okay, right here. It's going to be a straight line. Okay, straight line. What muscles is that move letting go of? Telling you about. Okay, so we've already taken the tricep out because that gets amplified when the leg goes up. Okay, but now we've allowed this joint to straighten again. Okay, so yeah, latissimus. Okay, latissimus dorsi. Latissimus dorsi. This one here. And what's that one? Trapezius. And thoracic rhomboid. Remember the rhomboid? It's got this section up here, but it has a little tiny baby section right here that's the thoracic portion. Okay. All of those muscles, this second portion of this exercise here is releasing everything here. It's also hitting these guys. Who are those? Who are those guys? What is this? Yes, serrate. Serratus ventralis. Okay, serrate. So if you see a little triangle right here popping out, that's what that is. Serrate. Okay. So step one does tricep, bicep, and then the flexors. Step two, the leg goes straight. So if the leg won't go straight, it is still going to be the flexors. And normally it's right here, right above the knee. Okay. It's normally right above the knee. Okay. So you have a straight leg here. They're just forward like this. Okay. It's everything here. Up high. Rhomboid? No. Why do I keep calling that? Trapezius. Oh, no, it's the trapezius I mess up. Okay. Rhomboid, trapezius, this one here. Latissimus dorsi, this one here. Serrate, this one here. Okay. So tell me, and actually I'm going to show you here in a second. But if you have a horse that has been walking around like this for a long time because of an ill-fitting saddle, these muscles will just be like this. Okay. So it reminds me of people who are so stressed out, they're just walking around like this all the time. They don't know it until someone goes, why don't you relax your shoulders? And they go, I am relaxed. And they go, no, you're not relaxed. Here. And somebody puts their hands on your shoulders and they go, oh, yeah, that does feel better. And then they go, that's still not enough. Relax your shoulders. And then they go, oh. Okay. So this is where this second part of this comes in. You have brought the leg forward, cool, okay? But now you're asking them to bring the leg down and then watch my shoulder here. Watch here. You want them to go, ugh. It's this part you're looking for, that part. Okay, so they're here. You want that drop in the scapula because that releases everything on the top. Okay. Now, for those of you that have been doing this with me a while, you know that I say I want to see a pork chop. Jiggle the pork chop. So once you've gotten that drop in the scapula, I want you to push it. This is advanced, so don't feel like you need to do this. This is less important, but it's adding a jiggle to the knee. Okay? Jiggle, 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 jiggle. And then I want to see that pork chop just swing. Boom, 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 like that. On your horse. Jiggle the pork chop. Okay? Steph, you got another question? Okay. So I want to see this entire scapula jiggle. I'll send you guys some actually I have videos. I'll just put videos up of it. That's going to be our goal. That shows you a completely relaxed scapula. Okay? And that's with the down and forward. Okay? Does everyone understand that to the most part? This is lateral flexion of the neck is the hardest thing that I teach. This is the second hardest. But it's also the most rewarding. So it's okay. It's okay to struggle with it, but you're not going to give up. Okay? And this can make some crazy, crazy differences with horses. So I'll tell you one story. I've told it before. I just recycle my stories. I was working on a little Arabian, not a little Arabian. He was tall. He was like he was probably 15'3". Tall Arabian, big, built nice, big shoulder. Okay. Real short strided, just kind of like dink, 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 dink. Shoulders were up here. Okay, cool. So I work on his shoulders and I do this leg range of motion and I get his shoulders completely released. They were stuck. So his scapula finally went from here back down to where it belongs. Okay, next day, owner calls me, says, my horse is tripping. He's tripping, almost in an accusatory tone. And I was like, yeah. She wasn't riding him. She was round penning him. I said, yeah, I fixed his shoulders. You're welcome. He couldn't move before. I have given him a full range of motion now. And now he's tripping because he doesn't know how to use his legs. Give him a little bit. Okay. So he didn't know he had to relearn full range of motion because he'd been so used to having such a short stride that when he finally got his freedom in his shoulders back, he tripped. I mean, sorry, but Arabians trip a lot anyways. At least the one I have does. So nothing crazy, but he tripped a couple times. So she was quite happy with that after I explained it to her. Okay. So we've released the back part of the muscle or the back part of the scapula, thoracic rhomboid, latissimus dorsi, trapezius, thoracic trapezius, tricep, serrate, and the flexors. So now we're going to do the front of the leg. So same thing. This one's easier though. Step 1, pick up the horse's hoof to 90 degrees. Now, this one's extra easy because you guys already do this when you pick their feet out. You already do it when you pick their feet out. The thing about this one though, so you're going to be facing backward again, just like you're picking their hoof out. Okay. Sometimes I flip around and do it the other way just because of step 2. But you're going to do this like you're picking their feet out. One thing I want you to look for is their leg should be straight up and down. If their leg is drawn forward and their knee is forward when you're doing this, that means their bicep is tight. And we already know where the bicep is from last week. Okay. If the leg is not straight up and down, 90 degrees, if the knee is further forward than the other knee. And it can be a little bit further forward, but if it's significantly further forward, that's the bicep. And I want you to go to, I'll show you where. It's always the same spot. Should I say always? No. It's almost always the same spot. It's this spot right here. Right here. Stick your fingers in this little groove right here. Stick your fingers right here. So ask for your horse to pick their foot up. They bend at the knee, their foot goes here 90 degrees. Okay? If this knee shoots forward and their hoof is like right here and their knee is up here, slide your fingers up here and touch this point. This is where they're tight. It's the bicep. So that's first muscle that you can tell is tight. If the horse cannot bring their foot up to 90 degrees, what is tight? If their foot's down here, what is it? I don't know. Where's my, do I have chat on here? What's going on? Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's right. The extensors. The extensors are in the front. What do extensors do? They extend the leg. They extend the toe. Okay. So these are the extensors. So just think about it logically, think it through. If these are tight and you pick up this foot and bend it, and this muscle is in charge of keeping this leg straight, it's going to not want to bring it up to 90 degrees. It's going to be the extensors right here. Okay? Now, there can be a second issue with this. The accessory carpal bone, their knee, technically wrist, is like this. It has 6 bones, okay? And then it has a 7th bone out here. This is that knobby thing that you feel right here, is the accessory carpal bone. When this accessory carpal bone gets jammed into their knee, it restricts the range of motion in their knee. Okay? So what you have to do, and this is a different course, is you have to jiggle that little sucker out of there. Okay? And that will restore the range of motion in the knee. Okay? Yes. Okay. So Alexandra says, do you ever test to see if the heel bulb can touch the elbow? It should be able to. That's actually how you tell if the accessory carpal bone is stuck. That's also kind of how you help their knee get a full range of motion again. But if your horse has arthritis, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not going to work. Okay. So that little bone there is going to have a hard time. If it gets kind of jammed in there, that restricts the range of motion of this foot folding up on itself. It should be able to fold up on itself if you have a pretty healthy horse, right? It does remind me though, I was just talking about this with someone the other day. Some people can sit like on their, on their legs, like folded their legs, like this and sit on it. I have like thick legs. So, I'm talking about like people who like fold their legs up. Like, look, you guys, like they fold their legs up and sit like this, and they sit in a chair, you know. I'll last about 35 seconds doing that. I'm just saying. So when so I think about that a little bit with horses too. I can do this, but I have a lot of muscle here. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to do that very well. Like I was never one of those cute girls that could sit in the chair with their feet up on the chair while they sit in it. Never happened. Okay. Because I'm not built like that. So you have to think a little bit about your horse in that aspect too. So don't try to force that heel bulb going up on there. And then Stephanie had a question here, difference between radial carpal extensor and common digital extensor. So one extends the carpal, which is the knee. The other extends the digit, which is the toe. We're going to talk about the muscles in the foreleg because they're really cool. They tell you what they do with their name. Lateral is on the side. Common, oh, the common digital. So it extends the digit. There's also a lateral muscle too. That's like I can't remember what it's called, but they give you what they do in their name, which is fun. I like that. And then is that bone on the inside or outside? It's in the back. Is that what you mean? So it's six bones and then that one sticks out the back. Yeah. It's right here. It's that little knob you feel right there on the horse. Okay, so 90 degrees. You're checking this muscle because if they can't go to 90 degrees, it's this one. You're also checking the bicep because if they can't bring it, or if the knee gets pulled forward, it's the bicep. Okay. This is not normally where any pectoral stuff shows up. So the pectoral stuff normally shows up as you're bringing the leg forward, not back. Okay. So that's step one. You're checking, does this have a full range of motion? Does the knee have a full range of motion? And does the bicep pull that leg forward or not? Okay. Those are the three. The next thing you're going to do is you're just going to allow that toe to come down and have that leg straight. So that leg is going to be straight right there. Okay. And what you're checking there is all of this up here in the front. So this is where your brachiocephalicus comes in. If it doesn't want that leg coming back, it's going to be tight. If the horse has to step on it, that means it's either tight or you took it too far. Okay. It's also going to be asking about the front of the scapula, which is the supraspinatus. Ooh, I hope I'm right on that. I think so. I think I've finally figured out how to remember that. Let me see here. Supraspine muscle. My internet's unstable. Why? Let's see. Hold on. Images. Yeah, this one. There you go. In the front, supraspinatus. Okay. So that's obviously going to be affected. Okay. So with going back, take it to 90 degrees, like you're picking their foot out. Their knee should be equal with the other knee. And then just ask them to go from there down. And it should probably, in general, hit mid-belly. Like if you drew a line up from the foot, it's going to be around mid-belly. Okay. Every horse is a little different, but they're almost always around mid-belly. I would rather you don't go too far. I would rather you start slow, and you can always ask the leg to go back a little further. Okay. That one's easier. The one forward has a couple things I want you to think about, which we already talked about. Okay. Any questions? No, Beth, thank you. Keegan has a bowed tendon in both front legs. Geez Louise. Still on stall rest. Will this work be okay? No. I don't want to do it because I love all the leg work, the massage stuff, but I don't want to, because sometimes when so here's something to think about. Sometimes when they know something's tight, they'll do something a little bit funky, like what Stephanie was talking about. They'll try to like do their own thing, and I don't want him doing that. And I also don't want to stretch anything that's not ready to be stretched. But this will be really important for him later after he has returned to work because you want him to have a full range of motion. Okay? Yeah, thanks for saying that. I would not do bow tendon stuff. Yeah. Any other questions? So get your videos in early because there will be a lot of comments on these. This is one of the harder things, just like with the lateral flexion. There's just a lot of tips I'm going to have to give you guys, and every horse handles this a little bit differently depending on the situation. But I do want you to ask yourself multiple questions as you're doing it. What is the leg telling me? So just think that, okay? Just think that. What's the leg telling me? What's it saying? And then just, you can kind of just hold it and go, what's it saying to me? What do I feel? Does it feel heavy? Or sometimes they'll hold it up. We don't want that either. I want the leg in my hand and relaxed. And their legs weigh a fair amount. So that's why your sumo squat's important. Okay. So sometimes they're uncomfortable and they'll kind of press down on you. Okay. So what is the leg telling me? Yeah, Beth. Yeah, totally. I want you to do it. So yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks for saying that. Yes, please. So what's the leg telling you? Is it heavy? Are they holding it up? So they're faking you out, right? Sometimes you got to wait them out. Is there like a lot of, oh, here's another thing. Um, if they do like a lot of this jazz, that's tension. And you might need to go back to your leg rubbing first and just hold out. And I have a couple videos that I will put up. And if you want to, this week, you can go to the public site, Winning Your Horse's Heart, go to the search bar and put in leg range of motion. Okay. And that'll help. It'll be good to watch. I have a couple videos on there where some horses are trying some stuff on me. Okay. Any other questions? But get your videos in early because this one's harder, so there might be more feedback for you. Okay. Cool. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy. This is so good for horses. The more you can do it on, the better. Super important. Okay, you guys are welcome. Have a good week. See you later.